Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to people all over the world. That's right, we're an international podcast. We've harped on it before. We're going to harp on it again because our numbers are going up, up, up in Belgium. That's right, bonjour. I believe they speak French out there. This is Play PSVR2, the podcast, episode 130. Adam got a little bit excited there when I stopped at the 3 because he thought I was saying 13, which is his favorite number age. I'm just joking. That's not true at all. Adam, how are you doing tonight?
I can't wait for October 13th. I don't know why. I think it's the night everyone goes wild. You'll go out and you'll never know what you see. Most people barely have clothes on, or maybe it's where I'm going. Either way.
Adam, did you know that October 13th is a Friday the 13th situation this year?
I didn't know about this year, but that makes me even hornier. I love it. Listen, Christmas obviously is holiday number one. Halloween is a close number two. What's the best costume you've ever dressed up as, Alex?
Ooh, this is an easy one. When I was little, I loved the Power Rangers, right? And so I got one of those store-bought Red Ranger costumes that is mostly made out of like vinyl, almost like a tarp. But then when I woke up in the morning, my parents had stayed up all night. They constructed a Megazord costume out of cardboard and spray paint. And so I had all the animals hanging off of my arms and legs. And so I trick-or-treated normally as Red Ranger, came back, went in as the Megazord, and then trick-or-treated more walking around as the actual Megazord. It was incredible.
Are you serious? And it worked?
It worked. But then I took one step that was too high, and it was too high for me to lift my leg, and I fell over and fell flat on my back. Luckily, the mask for the Megazord was a catcher's mask, and so the back of my head didn't hit the concrete. I just
Dude,
my head
and you
it
got
was
double
incredible.
the candy.
And I got double the candy. It was
Wow,
the best Halloween
that is
ever.
an incredible idea.
Yeah, it was so good. I can't believe they did it. My parents have never done anything that nice for me ever since.
Well, I'm actually very impressed. That's incredible.
What's yours, Adam? Your best costume?
My best costume would have to be a bush. I swept the Halloween costume of the year prizes every party I went to that year. I bought the biggest plastic pot I could find. I think Home Depot, Lowe's, one of those, found the biggest one, cut the bottom out, put chicken wire up top, and then and I actually went to the forest, took a bunch of leaves and sticks and twigs, filled it up, and then there we go. I wore some leggings and I crouched down. I was a bush. I scared people outside. I kept talking about how big my bush was, that my bush needed trimmed. People loved it. And like I said, big money. This isn't a Halloween podcast. We could go on. Alex,
before we go on, Adam, before we go on, I want to know, do you have a picture of your bush?
I sure do. Maybe I'll put it up here on the YouTubes.
Yeah,
if you're listening on the podcast, I apologize. Just imagine me with the biggest bush you can think. That's what it looks like.
I'm already imagining you that way, but okay. Sorry, Adam. Let's keep going.
So my gamer juice is Spindrift Lemon. Is this something? It's like something you would drink, Alex.
I think I had a case of those in my fridge a while ago, and I feel like I've actually used it as a gamer juice. But that's fine because Adam, this is nice because I'm kind of pulling an Adam. I went to a candy store and they had the toxic waste.
Oh wow, dude, this is
it's lemony soda water.
Like they're not. A lot of times people are like, "Oh, it's lemon flavored," but it's like, I don't know. It's like you're sucking on the balls of a lemon. Like you can tell it's lemon, but not much. This is like,
this ain't no hint, right? This ain't no hint.
You're right. There's no hint. There is a full on tea bag in my mouth of lemon.
Yeah. Adam, you had toxic slime recently, right? Wasn't that was one of your gamer juices recently? Toxic waste or toxic slime? Anyways, I went to a candy store with my kids at the mall, and I got toxic waste slime liquor. Slime, not liqueur, liquor. So a person who licks slime.
Okay.
A sour soda, blue raspberry, a dish. We're going to pop this off. I hope it's Twist Top because I do not have it. There we go. Thank you.
Liquor? I hardly know her.
Yeah, I don't know her at all, but
you're going to stick that tongue down in there. Stick it in the hole. No, you're sucking on it.
My tongue was in there, but it was too blue. I don't know what is supposed to be toxic slime about this, I don't know what. I will say, I had a breath mint in my mouth that was a little bit like it was still substantial, shouldn't dissolve quickly. When I drank this, that thing exploded. I don't know what's going on there.
Whoa. Dude, it's probably supposed to be sour. It probably has citric acid in it.
Mm. That mint in my mouth was non-existent.
I've got
that
the
is.
mints in my mouth. I got the mints in my mouth.
I don't
That's
know.
a Tim and Eric Awesome Show reference. No one.
I don't know if this is supposed to be. Why is this mushroom cloud so veiny?
Dude, I've seen that. I didn't have it, but I've seen that at Jungle Gyms.
Yeah, do you notice right here like the veins on the mushroom cloud? What are we saying there, guys?
Hey, everything that's good has veins like that. Okay, Alex. So PSVR2 top downloads. You are going to give me 10 games, and I've got to pick the top 3. Is that correct?
Yeah, let's segue a little bit better into this. Adam, you didn't want to start off hot and heavy with a review, understandably. So what we're going to do first is go over, was just announced recently, the PSVR2 top downloads of the month. Adam, I have a list here in front of you. I'm going to read it. I had it randomized. These are the top 10 games. They're in no particular order. You have to rank the top 3 games. If you get the top 3 right, you don't have to get like number 1 right. You have to get the ones that are in the top 3 correct. Then, if you get those correct, then I will eat a bean. Otherwise, you will eat a bean. You know what? Let's do this. Let's say you name 4 games. If 3 of those are in the top 4, then I'll eat a bean.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Give you a little bit of extra there.
I think that's fair. Some of these are clear. Well, so are you going to read them or
I'm going to
talk
I'm going to read them? Yeah, I'm going to read off the list of games. And then Adam, you're going to verbally explain your thought process as to what you think the top 4 are going to be.
As you describe the game, I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. Very quick. I don't want this to be long.
All right.
Go ahead. What's the first one?
First one on the list, again, no particular order, Walkabout Mini Golf.
I feel like that probably is one of the top 3. They came out with a new DLC. They keep coming out with content. The only thing that worries me is it's been out for a little while, and it's one of the games you have to have. You probably have already gotten it. That would be my concern. Okay, moving on.
Job Simulator.
I don't know why this is on every list. How? Who is still buying this game?
Yeah, what's weird is this is always on the list, but Vacation Simulator is not. And I believe Vacation Simulator is a better game because it is Job Simulator, just bigger and better.
Yeah, that is going to be one of my answers. So go ahead, write it down. I don't know why. I hate it. I don't want it to be. People keep buying it. How? Go ahead.
I don't know. All right, next is Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge.
I just don't think this is that great of a game.
It's like a virtual theme park. I don't know, man. I hear lots of people saying, like, I love it. It was way better than I thought it would be. And I hear lots of people say, like, man, this game sucks. This sucks. What I think happens with this game is that people who don't really play a lot of video games or don't play a lot of VR games plays this, and they attribute the wow factor that VR brings as the wow factor of the game itself. Whereas it's like we've played bad VR games, we've played good VR games, so we can separate the VR-ness from the game itself. I think that's what happens with this game. But neither one of us have played it, so I don't know.
And the fact that Star Wars, right? I mean, you're naturally going to be more biased toward a title that you love. If they made Kingdom Hearts, it might suck. I'm still going to like it, though. I'm swinging my Keyblade. I'm looking up. I can't say that. Let's go on, Alex. What's the 4th game?
Swordsman VR.
I mean, there's no way this is top 3. This
is top 10. This is surprising to me that it's top 10.
Yeah, still. I know. I was going to say the same thing, but there's no way it's top 3. So this is an easy. This and Star Wars is an easy. I'm not picking these.
Okay,
but it's intriguing.
Yeah. I wonder if there's something there in Swordsman that I'm not thinking about. Like, I've played it a little bit. It seems like a sandboxy fun type game. Anyways, moving on. I'm happy to see this one. Hubris has made it to the top 10.
I mean, yes and no. For the game itself, It was a hung jury for me. It had some good to it, but the gameplay was just so limited, and there were some really aggravating aspects to it. I don't know. It
Yeah,
looks good, and it's on the surface looks like a game everyone would want to play. So I'm a little worried about this, but it's also 3 weeks old. So I think I'm going to keep it out of my top three.
the thing about hubris, hubris being here means one of two things. Either one, it's way more successful and way more well known than we thought it would be, which seems odd to me because it's like you don't see a lot of commercials for it. People aren't talking about it outside of the PSVR subreddit. Or two, the sales of PSVR2 games is so poor that if a new game comes out, it automatically makes a top 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, but that's how it should be, right? I mean, look at all the games on the PS5. Final Fantasy 16 came out, it's now number one. Now a new game came out, that's number one. Like that's how it goes. I mean,
but you have to admit that the release of Final Fantasy 16 is a much more substantial release to the flat space, video game public than Hubris is to the VR space video game public. Nope.
yeah,
Everybody was waiting for Final Fantasy 16. Nobody was really waiting for Hubris. They're just kind of happy it showed up.
true.
But I've heard really good things about Hubris. I think I might take the plunge soon. Anyways, moving on. Moss Book 2.
I don't know why this is in the top 10. No, it's definitely not top three. It's not even, I'm not even going to waste my breath on it. Move on.
I think it's odd that that's there, but not the Moss Book Collection, which I think is like a great deal. Beat Saber.
Oh no. Oh no. The way oh gosh. So okay. And you may not know this. That's fair. That's not your problem. If I downloaded it, but I had it for the PSVR, I didn't buy it. I just downloaded it. Does that count as a sale in this ranking?
PS Store purchases only. Game upgrades or games bundled with hardware not included. So I think a transaction has to occur.
I don't. Okay. In that case, I think everyone already has it. I mean, people who don't have bought that, but I don't think enough to be top three. But that might be my fourth game that, like, I don't really know. So that one's, I might pick it, but I'm not sure yet.
Next one on the list is Synapse.
Synapse, great game, big hype. And it came out, people love it. That's gotta be. If that's not top three, I'm gonna take my top off. That's what's gonna happen. So
here I am hoping it's not top three. Creed Rise to Glory Championship Edition.
I think this is like 9 or 10. I don't think this is top three. And unfortunately, you were disappointed, right? So that's a bummer.
Disappointed the multiplayer. I mean, it's still Creed. The single player is still Creed. Like that works fine. Last one on the list. Not again. No ranking here. Just last one on the list as I randomized it. Pavlov.
See, it scares me. Everyone who bought a PSVR2 is gonna buy Pavlov. So the question is, did enough people buy PSVR2s new and bought Pavlov? But you would argue all these games, right? I mean, everyone's going to also buy Walkabout. So maybe that's flawed thinking. This should be in the top 10. Fantastic game. I forgot where we had at least top 5. It's a very
like
good game.
Or something, yeah.
You do need to have it. I think I'm going to keep it out of my top 5 or top 3 because I mean, it's been out since launch, man.
I think this bodes well. You made a really good point there, Adam. That anybody who has PSVR 2 already has already purchased Pavlov. They shouldn't be included in this group. Pavlov existing in the top 10 tells me that, hey, maybe things are going pretty good for the PSVR 2 because you have more people buying new units, which means they're buying Pavlov. Because Pavlov is basically, I would expect a near 1-to-1 attachment rate of PSVR 2 to Pavlov just because of how crucial a multiplayer first-person shooter is to that.
No, I'm intrigued. No Horizon.
Well, that doesn't count because it's this is not a purchase. It's just the download. I'm also intrigued. Nobody's buying Horizon. They're getting it from the bundle, which does
and no Resident Evil, no Gran Turismo.
So, okay, Resident Evil and Gran Turismo are considered flat games, so those appear in the flat game rankings. Yeah,
okay.
Good, really good point. I'm glad you mentioned it, but those appear in the flat game rankings, and those people buying Resident Evil 8 to play the VR version, that's a drop in the bucket to the number of people who are buying other, games for the PlayStation 5.
That's fair. Okay, so with this, without further ado, I'm gonna do, and you said this was this month, right?
This month, yeah.
But it's
And
the middle
I'll
of
give you
August, so it goes to
no, sorry, July. Let me give you a hint. The hint is that normally they're different. This month, all of the or the top 5 of the US and the top 5 of the EU are the same games.
I don't care about that.
Maybe that means nothing to you. Okay.
No. So, oh gosh, when did Synapse come out? Because the only reason I'm not gonna put Synapse as number 1 is because I'm afraid it came out like late July. And then obviously it maybe only had 5 days to get.
It came out July 4th.
Okay. Synapse is number 1. I have to pick Job Simulator. I don't know why, but it's always there. It's always there, and I hate it. So I'm going to pick that at number 2. I'm going to do Walkabout Mini Golf as 3 and Beat Saber at 4.
Adam, I'm so sorry. You have 2 out of the top 4.
No. No.
I want to commend you on your logic. I think you were totally correct in what you chose. I think PSVR2 purchasers have failed you in this regard. Number 1 this month is Synapse, which I'm so happy for. I'm so glad that's getting success. Number 2 is, oddly enough, Beat Saber. Number 3 is Pavlov. And number 4, I don't know why, Moss Book 2.
F this. Do you have a spinner, or do I need to spin for my own bean?
I think I have a spinner now. I think I have a spinner.
Oh my
yes,
gosh. You screwed me. Everyone listening, you screwed me. That is a worse, horrible rankings.
Birthday cake or dirty dishwater?
Bob Saget. Dirty dishwater. It's not the worst of the beans, but it sticks with you.
It fills up your mouth with that dishwater, that Dawn
and let's be honest,
smell.
Well, we know this is gonna be dishwater.
We know it's gonna be dishwater. Why would they make the beans if they could get rid of the beans? Yeah,
it's like peppery almost. Like,
yeah, no, they know what they're doing.
Gosh.
It tastes like dirty dishes with a little bit of dish soap.
Yeah, but they were having like stuffed jalapeno poppers for dinner, didn't wipe off their plate, and then stuck it in the dishwater for a day. That's what this tastes like. I mean, it's not the worst.
You deserved it, Adam. You deserved this flavor.
Yeah, I told you I wasn't gonna get it. I hate this game. Doesn't make any sense. Where was Job Simulator in there?
Oh, Job Simulator. You were pretty close. Job Simulator was number 6. Star Wars. This is another odd one. Star Wars beat out Job Simulator, and this is what's weird to me is Synapse, Beat Saber, Pavlov, Moss, Star Wars, Job Simulator. That was the same in Europe as it was in the U.S. Normally, we see some fluctuations in there. So that's a really confusing month.
That's a really confusing bean. I mean, my whole body is just like, okay, I think I want to talk about VR Skater. I talked about it a little bit last week, but I want to hop into, I've played hours into this game. I've played all the levels. I am now ready to argue and defend my final verdict and discuss what I think about the game. Any last comments before I hop in here and possibly convince you to play VR Skater?
I will just say I bought the game in hopes that I could play it so I could argue with you more about it, but I never had time to play it. I played too much Synapse instead. With that being said, let's get into our review of VR Skater.
VR Skater take the stand. The Honorable Adam has taken his place, and judgment will rain upon you like child's tears when they realize Santa is just your cross-dressing mother. The decision on whether you are a worthy PSVR2 title that I can advise to these sweet, sweet listeners of mine will come down to this. My opening argument pertains to the count of faster than Alex's mom can unbutton my overalls. Now, VR Skater is fast, dynamic, it's peppy. Immediately, you are thrown into the action. And if I'm being honest, even if you don't do any tricks, it's fun. you really fly on that puppy and you swing your arm like you're actually on a skateboard, and how you would kind of thrust forward and your arm would move down your side. You do this to help accelerate. And I mean, it just feels really good. I even added a fan on top of me so I could feel the air as I'm flying down the street or through the construction site. It's absolutely incredible. And you're going to notice that as you accelerate, these obstacles, these things that you can grind on and jump over, come at you faster than you realize. Most of my wrecks are because I'm trying to calm down, or I'm excited that I just pulled off a wicked stunt, and now I need to settle down before pulling off the next trick, but you can't because you're flying. When you land, you're either one, you're like, wow, I actually landed that, or two, you're going so fast, the next obstacle is like, boom, it is right there, and you don't have time to prepare. In the good way, of course. You can't take a breather. This is exhilarating. It's an action-packed game. This leads to some serious fun. And because of that, on the count of faster than Alex's mom can unbutton my overalls, I do find you, VR Skater, guilty. Alex, you got cross-exam. If you want the opportunity.
Yeah, I have some questions. This is something I did not anticipate, a sense of speed in this game, which now that you mention it, that's really a valid component to a skateboarding game, how it can convey the sense of speed. So am I picking up on this right, what you're saying, that you do feel like you're moving really quickly, you're skateboarding really fast? Or is it something else?
A lot of times, and what I love about this is in real life, if you go too fast, you get that sensation that, okay, I'm going too quick. I can't think the same speed that I'm moving. And so you're going to wreck because you don't have time to prepare. Your nerves, you just don't have the poise. You feel that in this game. So it really increases the realism, but it's also when you're moving your hand and kind of, getting into the motion, the more I move and throw my hand back to accelerate, the more I do that, the harder I do that, you go faster. So you can also kind of moderate that as you would in real life as well. I just love the fact it throws you in. It's difficult, but there's no hand holding. You're in the action. You are Tony Hawk. The only thing you're missing is the gorgeous hair.
Tony Hawk's gorgeous hair? Okay. He's not known for his hair, but let's move on to count number 2, Adam.
I don't even want to know what you were referring to and what he's known for. But count 2, you can't get enough of Blue Bonnet on it because it's so real. I can't believe it's not butter. I find VR Skater to be actually pretty freaking realistic. I already touched on it a little bit right there. And I have to admit, I don't skate, okay? But the movements that you make with your body, the aligning your stance on the board in real life, and the combinations needed to perform tricks while midair really make you feel like you're skating. So I liken this to Guitar Hero. Remember that back in the day, you were holding a physical guitar, you were, quote unquote, playing notes. You weren't really strumming the line, but you had that little clicker on the guitar. It felt real, and you knew you weren't playing a guitar, but it kind of felt like you really were. I say this feels exactly the same way, just with the virtual reality element to it. Now, the second part of the realism is the difficulty. I would argue this is actually a little too difficult for the casual player. To grind a rail, you need to be spot on. To nail a shove it, you got to have your timing done perfectly. And to control your board to avoid obstacles takes time, patience, and practice. Now, on one hand, that's painful because in the beginning, there is a really big learning curve. You're going to wreck a lot, and there's some resistance there. You want to skate, but you can't. You just want to ride, man. But then on the other hand, once you get this down, you have an insane amount of satisfaction when you nail a trick. And it feels so good and so rewarding to do so. It motivates you to get better, to do another run, and really makes you appreciate the game. So, because of that, on the count of you can't get enough of Blue Bonnet on it because it's so real, I can't believe it's not butter. I find you guilty.
Adam, this is also really good to hear. I think this is kind of similar stuff I was saying last week of like it's really hard to get going, but once you get going, the difficulty of getting started is what makes the chunk of the gameplay after you learn it much more enjoyable, right? Like Guitar Hero is fun to kind of play and mess around with, but it's really fun when you get kind of good at it and then you're like challenging yourself and then you feel like you're really playing guitar. It's also nice to know that you as a person who doesn't skateboard can still feel the sensation of skateboarding while performing tricks and stuff. That it's because it's that engaging in how you perform the tricks. It's that engaging in the timing requirements and grinding rails and things like that. It's not just pushing a button. It's really anticipating what's coming ahead. This just all bodes well for the game. For me, makes me happy that I actually ponied up and purchased it. I just hope I had the time at some point in my life to play this so I can relive my teenage skater dreams.
Yeah, at first, I mean, I'm still a little. Some of the moves I wish they were a little easier to do, but the satisfaction and kind of the obsession, right? Like I can't nail that trick or I can't make a perfect run through this course. Really, it brings me back and I keep playing it more than I thought. One thing I was worried about is that there's only so many moves you can do, right? I mean, it's a game. You can't go creative. There's a set move, there's a decent amount of moves and tricks you can do, but that's it. And I was afraid, okay, I'm sick of doing, ollie shove it's and grabbing the board, landing, and then doing a rail grind or doing the same thing over and over. But with the different courses, you can find different ways to do those tricks while making it feel fresh. I mean, all good stuff. I think it's good. It's one of the strong points of the game, I would say.
All right. Nice. Well, let's get on to your final count.
So finally, I do come to the count of game gremlins and glitch bitches. I gotta come clean. Although I admire the developer, it was made by a single person, and the game has given me definitely some good times, but there are some glitches and frustrations that cannot be ignored. Right off the bat, when I first played the game, I couldn't finish the tutorial because I got to the end. You jump over a ledge and onto a parking garage. To my surprise, I hit the parking garage and just kept falling and falling and falling. And I fell endlessly, soft locking the game. I couldn't pause the game. I couldn't restart the game, had to totally close it out. I was finished with the tutorial or one of the tutorials, and I asked to go back to the main menu. Black screen, nothing I could do. Soft locked it again. Multiple times on free practice mode, you are going to wreck in front of an obstacle, but you respawn in the same spot. That's problematic because let's say you are right in front of a large jump or right in front of an obstacle. You don't have enough room to gain speed to jump over that or even to get out of the way of the obstacle. And there's nothing you can do. You have to restart the level. Now, I've also wrecked and continually respawned on, for example, a flight of stairs, which immediately wrecks you. So, soft locking the game. There was nothing I could do. I couldn't pause. I couldn't restart. Had to close the game, start it all over again. So, seriously, there's more glitches than there should be in this game. Now, they're not game breaking. They're not making me stop playing the game, but they're plenty annoying. The good news is a software patch could probably fix those. And then the other issue is the $35 price tag. Why? Why is it so expensive? It's hard to recommend a great game like this because of the glitches with only 7 levels and the limited content and that high of a price tag. So, game gremlins and glitch bitches, I find you on these counts guilty.
All right. So, yeah, this is kind of the first real negatives you're bringing to light in the game. A lot of glitches. I understand that. And you made the good point. Those can be satisfied or fixed in a software patch. Now, you do mention only 7 levels. Adam, they did tell us that they're going to be launching 3 more levels for free. When you say 7, is that including that 3 free levels?
It is not, I believe. There's just 7 in this base game, and they will come out with DLC. You're right. That's less of a complaint of mine compared to the glitches. And then, I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on my final verdict, but I'll stop there.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it's glitches are always rough, right? Because you want to think this can get fixed, but in some cases it just doesn't get fixed, right? So we have to review the game in its current status. So it makes sense that you have to harp on this a little bit. So that's a good point. All right, well, let's move on to your final verdict, Adam.
All right. So, VR Skater, the court has heard your story, reviewed your testimony, and the final verdict. On the counts of being a PSVR2 game worth playing, I find you guilty. Listen, the only issue here is the price tag. It's so expensive, needlessly expensive in my mind. And here is where I struggled. The game, is it a must play or just you should play? That was where I struggled. So in this scenario, there are scenarios where it's not worth it for you to pay $35. If you're not super into skating or you don't like these type of games, the glitches are a big problem. If I'm going to pay a premier price, I want a premier product. And you could argue with the limited levels, with the limited move pool for tricks, with the glitches, that it may not be a must play for every single player. So at a $20 or even a $25, I would say every single person with a PSVR2, just like Pavlov, you have to have this game or you're straight up stupid. But because of that $35 price tag, I can't do that. But it is a game most should have in their library. Feel free to wait for a sale if you want, but it's one I'm almost certain you're going to enjoy. Definitely get your money's worth and be an experience you don't regret playing.
Yeah, it's a tough call. I agree, right? Putting it at $35, that's one of the more expensive PSVR games that we see, outside of, Resident Evil 8 when it launched. Resident Evil 4 is probably going to be around $40 on the used market or something like that. There's very few games that are like $70 or 60 or $50. This being 35, yeah, makes it one of the more expensive ones. And I think I have to agree with you. That's a surprising number, right? I think a lot of us were expecting something in the $20 to $25 range.
Mm-hmm.
I think on PC it was $20 in early access, and they've bumped that up to 35. My only hope is that $35 is a promise that the developer is making to the customer, and that they're going to start including like multiplayer, right? So $35 for this game plus a good multiplayer component would kind of make sense, right? Or plus even more levels in the future, that would kind of make sense. $35 for what is probably a very good, very competent, and very enjoyable, skate, line, run, simulation game a la Guitar Hero. It feels pretty steep, right? Guitar Hero had something like 70 songs when it first came out. This, if we consider a course a song, this has 7, maybe 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Price is an issue there. I still thought it'd be worth it because I enjoy skateboarding. I can look forward to that kind of difficulty.
And it's tough, right? Like,
yeah,
it's tough for me because I'm also, there's the human component that like, it's one dude who made this game. Like for one guy, it's incredible. So you want to support him, but also, I feel like if you should cater to the actual fans, right? Not for everyone. $35 could be taking the family to a movie or going on a date with your girlfriend or something that you're foregoing to buy this game. It's tough. But Alex, to put it on the list, I hate to do it, but I think it must be done. I don't think, just from your excitement, I don't think I could put this above Synapse. And I love C Smash, but this, it's a better VR experience and it's fun. So I'm gonna put it above C Smash. I'm gonna put it at number 6.
that's surprising based on what you talked about last week. It's a
Yeah.
good surprise.
The thing is, the more I play it, the more I like it. And that's why I didn't want to review it last week. I mean, I played it almost every day. And it's another one of those games I pick up, I play 20 minutes at lunch, love it. And then, that's it. I feel like I got my fill. I come back the next day. There, it's good. It's like it almost reminds me of, it has the cadence of Runner, but it's more heavily involved with VR, like the VR aspect. So there it is. I am glad that you purchased this. I am bummed that you're probably going to play this instead of Humanity, because I really want you to play Humanity. But I do think you are going to like this very much. Quickly, or if you want to talk about the next segment, I'll just take us out. Are you ready to move past Synapse and start playing another game, or are you?
Yeah, this is playing? No, this is a good time. Yeah, so I bought this game thinking I was going to play it secretly and then bombard you with combative statements during your review, but I could not bring myself to play the game because I was too addicted to Synapse. What would happen was I'd play Synapse and then I'd enter rest mode. So whenever I turn my PSVR2 on again, I would see the Synapse pause screen, and it's like, yeah, why not just like resume my current run? Let's see how things are going. What they've done in Synapse, I mentioned last week that it's a pretty short game. Really, it's kind of like that Nier type situation. You got to do 3 runs of the single player campaign to really see the full game, because it's almost like that first run that you do that you get to the end is like a tutorial. And what I thought initially was like hardware limitations as to why they're only giving you like 5 enemies at a time to fight. That's purely a difficulty limitation, because very quickly in the later difficulty levels, you're surrounded by enemies and you have to have your wits about you to like take them out while they're all shooting at you, doing different stuff, deal with the suicide bombers. The game is so fun when you get into a groove. It feels so good when you're shooting and using telekinesis at the same time, and also navigating. And then they have this amazing component where you can like vault over like walls and stuff. So you can grab any wall. So if you see something up at the top that you want to get to, you don't want to find the route to it, you can just like climb up the wall, and it feels really good. But man, this game, it's too good to stop playing. And I am nervous, having done 2 full runs, like finished the game twice. I'm very close to finishing the 3rd time. I'm running out of like powers to unlock. I'm running out of achievements. I'm running out of everything. I'm sad to see this game finish. It's so good. I want more. I want so much more of this game, which is kind of a bad side of the game. It's short, but also it's a testament to how good the game feels to play. I want so much more of this game, and I just can't get any. I hope to God there's a sequel. I hope to God there's DLC or something. It's very much like Superhot, where like Superhot's not that long to get through, and you just wish you had more. You wish you had more Superhot to play. I wish I had more Synapse to play. But I think, yeah, once I'm almost done with Synapse, I'll move on to maybe I'll do Humanity. I can wait on VR Skater, right? You reviewed it, you liked it. I'm not going to fight with anybody about it.
That's right. Okay, so as we go into our segment break, next segment we have YouTube comment reviews. We've got news. We've got new game updates, and we've got are you upset with the PSVR's first 6 months of life? Stick with us. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
Welcome to segment 2 of PlayPSVR2, the podcast episode 130. Thank you for the review for VR Skater, Adam. It was so nice to hear you come around to what I was hoping you would come around to. With that, we have more things for you to review in terms of YouTube comments. So you ready to hear some of the YouTube comments we've kind of picked up and sampled for this week?
I came. Don't worry about that.
All right.
I will say you didn't give me a break to get in there but Alex, before we hop into YouTube, how is that gamer juice? Because it looks good. You're already drinking something else.
Yeah, I got some soda water mixed in here. The gamer juices, it is totally depleted. I just downed that mother. I will say, it didn't taste bad. It's blue raspberry, which is already sour, and then it's a sour soda on top of that. So it's like a sour version of something that's already sour. And really, I think the sugar content is what's messing me up. I usually drink sugar free stuff. This has, holy crap, 42 grams of sugar. I think that
bet.
buzz, yeah.
Here's a bean. We're gonna have two bean bets. What is the average weight of an average male testicle? Because I was gonna say that's like a testicle sized amount of sugar, but here it is. Oh crap! How should we do it?
I have to guess over or under 42 grams, the average male testicle?
Yes.
Over.
Okay. You can start on YouTube while I research this answer.
While you Google this, Adam's acting like it's taking a while. He's pretending to furiously Google testicles. We know his search history is already littered with that Google search. All right, YouTube comment review. Unfortunately, we have not posted a review in the interim. No. Just leave it for after the YouTube comment review. Mr. AJ Skipper, we have not posted a review, so Mr. AJ Skipper has nothing to thank us for. I already feel like I'm eating a bean, so let me get through these before I have to start eating beans. We had our homeboy Lamu say, do you think it's worth it to get the Ultimate Comfort Kit or save $15 and just get the strap? Talking about the head strap review you did, Adam. Do you think the counterweights on the back make the most difference, or will it still be way more comfortable with just the strap? What are your thoughts, Adam?
Yeah, this is tough. It's so hard because I think there's so many variables, and really you as a person, it's dependent. So it will help tremendously. I think the strap already helps, but it depends on how you want it to fit. So I have mine to where I don't put the headset all the way down because the strap is tight enough that it's bearing essentially all of the weight of my headset. So my head isn't bearing any of the weight. And when I tighten it, really the only thing that is doing is keeping the lenses in place, but there's no weight bearing. So the strap helps a lot. But then if you don't have the weights, you may need to tighten that band tighter to make that stay in place. It's kind of tough. I think, I don't know. It's also $15. I mean, if you're going to have this thing for 6 years, right? Or however long it takes them to make PSVR3. I honestly, Alex, I hope they make a PSVR2 Pro and they go back to the freaking PSVR headset, because it is. I was playing VR Skater this week. I just sat there and I was still appalled on how uncomfortable this headset is. I don't understand how they let it happen. Cerny, you really cucked me. You cucked my head. Garbage. You suck.
That's hilarious, Adam. I will say, I agree with you, right? I'm not one who complains about the comfort of the PS2 headset. I have a fine time playing for long periods of time, right? But there was recently, I put the PSVR1 headset on to play. I think I was playing a game with my daughter or something. And I was like taken aback by how much more comfortable it feels. And so when PSVR2 first initially launched, people talked about how it was so comfortable to wear. And I will say, it is more comfortable than the Quest 2. Probably more comfortable than the Oculus that I've played with. Probably more comfortable than the Valve Index and stuff like that. So it's not a bad headset comfort-wise by any means. And of course, now with these head straps you can get for $15, that's like a drop in the bucket. It can be made more comfortable. But you're right, Adam. PSVR1 headset is so comfortable. It feels like you're just putting on a baseball cap, in terms of like how much it gets in the way of your movement. I would love it. Like you said, I would love it if they made like a PSVR2 Classic that was just a PSVR1 headset at form factor. God, that would be so nice.
And I want to first go back. I want to apologize. I just realized what I said actually made sense, that he cucked me, which could happen in real. That is disgusting. I am sorry for all of those who are listening. And if that,
you don't have a wife, so it couldn't have happened. But
Do
that
you
is
have to
funny.
be wifed?
I would assume as much. Do you have to be wifed? Does it have to be your married spouse? I think by definition. Well, I guess birds. Cuckoldry comes from the birds, and they are not married, but they do mate for life, I believe. And I guess technically not, but
How do you know so much about a bird?
I
What?
go deep with my fetishes, man. I go deep
Listen,
with my.
in humans, each testes weighs about 25 grams. It's bean time, baby.
I am
Holy.
sorry that I
Okay, here's the
mistook
thing, though.
my testicles for being the average male testicle.
No, here's the thing. Really think about it. I thought it was an easy over. You're right. But I mean, I don't want to get crude here. Think about your testicle and like holding your testicle. I don't want to be disgusting, but that's a lot of sugar. And you're almost have twice that amount in your soda in that one bottle. Dude, that is scary.
You're right that's a lot of sugar in the soda, but I love the idea of you holding a testicle in your hand and saying, that's a lot of sugar.
You got to check yourself. Testicular cancer. You never. So I'll tell you after. That's way too personal.
Sorry. What if you went to the doctor and got a physical and they did that checkup and when they said turn your head and cough, and before you coughed, you just went, wow, that's a lot of sugar.
Oh, I'd be like, you're right, doc.
Spin the wheel, Adam, just so I can get ready for myself as I move on to the next one.
Oh, that is beautiful. Oh my! I can't
next comment comes from Space Denizen. They say, as one of 7 people who bought C Smash.
I'm not making this up.
Was that a
barf?
barf? Oh, I got one right here.
Barf.
And I almost finished my drink, so it's good that I waited a bit.
Wait.
I'll just
no.
barf
No, I'm sorry. It's a stinky sock.
Okay. Whoo!
Man, I mean, it was right.
Tutti Frutti or
the
stinky
view
sock.
I was looking at it, but when I look at straight down, it's a stinky sock. Dang it. Viewers,
thank
I'm sorry. Although you may thank me because it's hard to come back from a barf.
Yeah.
To keep doing a podcast with a barf is tough.
With a barf bean on your breath, yeah, it's rough. That's a lot of sugar.
Did you already eat the bean?
No, I haven't. I'm going to finish this comment. Then
Dude,
you're going to elaborate.
Get it in your mouth. Then get it in your mouth.
I get a lot of sound bites for Area B right now, Adam. Space Denizen says, as one of 7 people who bought C Smash, I'm beginning to think I'm entitled to a poster. That's a comment on Adam getting posters just by asking. But Adam, I do want to ask you, C Smash is out now. Have you had trouble finding multiplayer games? This person comments, it makes it sound like not many people are playing. Have you tried to play multiplayer recently? Is the user base still there?
I would have to say I have not played it since I've gotten VR Skater. So I haven't played it in like 3 weeks. Then I didn't have an issue, but 3 weeks is probably half of its lifetime that has been on the market. So unfortunately, I don't know.
I haven't
Space
heard.
Denizen, if you don't mind, comment on if that means not many people have bought it or you're just jelly that I've got a poster and you don't got one.
I'm jelly that you have a poster and I don't have one. And I bought the game. You got it for free.
Well,
I do
reviewed
think
it.
I do. You did. I do think the thing about C Smash is I'm not hearing much buzz about it. Like when it came out, everybody was like, "This is a really good game. This is a really good VR game," but we're not hearing people continually talking about it. At least I'm not seeing it on Reddit, Twitter, things like that. I do think it's a game worth, hopefully having a user base. Hopefully the developers, organize some kind of tournament or something like that, right? Because that's a game that requires like a regularly scheduled, like, every week, every Saturday at this time, we have the C Smash tournament. That would be something really fun to follow and engage with. And maybe in the next update coming out, because it's a very, very good game, but without playing against other people, it's kind of hard to, recommend the longevity of that game.
No, I meant to we haven't gone over the sales, but I'm just going to go and say it. In August, they keep talking about a very big update. So we don't know exactly what that entails, but they keep talking about it. So I'm thinking more levels, maybe a new mode, some new music, new backgrounds. Something's going to happen. So that hopefully will bring people back in it. We need to keep moving. What's the next one?
Keep moving. Corporate Zombie, our homeboy Bruce said, I pulled the trigger on Synapse and streamed it today. It is amazingly fun so far. Think you are Darth Vader at the end of Rogue One, except you haven't had to sit through 2 hours of a dull movie to get to it. Adam, you've not seen any of the Star Wars movies, right?
No.
Okay. Um, I will say this. I know exactly what he's saying. Darth Vader, he's a bad guy. He uses the Force. He throws metal things around all the time.
He's my father.
He's somebody's father. Not going to spoil the movie for people who haven't seen it. But I totally got this feeling too when I played through Synapse recently. I did a run where I wasn't trying to be careful. I was just trying to be like the most destructive telekinetic dude that I could be. It was so much fun, and I totally exactly felt like Darth Vader at the end of like Return of the Jedi when he's just pulling metal off the walls and slamming it into people. Yeah, so I'm glad to see that people are also enjoying Synapse in the same way. I'll reiterate. This is like the super hot of PSVR2. It's that good. It feels that good. It's that fun. And I'm glad to see that I'm not the only one feeling that way about it. Adam, are you going to buy super hot or Synapse now?
At this point, I feel like I gotta wait for a sale. I've waited so long to buy it. It's been a month. I gotta wait for a sale. Just like I've got a reputation to uphold, man. I mean, people are gonna be out there being like, "Did you hear Adam Weinhardt? He bought it full price a month after release. What is this man do?" I mean, I hear the rumblings already. Even the temptation. I feel the people's conscience and the weight of their gossip. So I'm holding out. But first sale, that's going to be a buy.
Yeah, everybody, you hear that? On Twitter, take to the Twitter streets, hashtag full price Adam. We need him to buy Synapse. We need him to buy Synapse at full price. That's the campaign for the next week or two. Hashtag full price Adam, please. Thank you. It is a heavy week for our wallets, right? VR Skater, a very good game from what you say, and Synapse, a very good game from what I say. Both came out at the same time, right? Where is the room for me to look forward to the next new release? I don't know, because we got more coming up that we'll detail later. Moving on to the next comment, last comment of the week. Jay Devil, also known as VR Labs, he says, he's talking about Adam. The fact he said he would rather play with bots tells you everything you need to know about his first-person shooter chops. Sorry to say. Ha ha ha. Love you guys. He also said, talking about you, he's too cheap. You spend $20 for a movie that lasts 2 hours. This skate game has hundreds of hours in it.
Okay,
Adam,
okay.
Do you have any
One,
comments there?
This game does not have hundreds of hours in it. Two, I do not pay $20 for a movie. Don't you dare put that on me. I don't do that because I'm not a sucker. And if I have to go to a movie, if they are like, you don't go or I'm going to shoot your mother, I go at matinee and I pay $8.50 max.
So let that be known. If you ever say yes to a date with Adam, you will be seeing that movie at 2:30 p.m. on a Wednesday afternoon.
I will take a day off work to save that $8.
Oh, that's great. I think you're right. VR Skater has lots of hours to it, right? Especially if you get competitive. Hundreds of hours seems a bit generous for the amount of content.
If I'm being completely honest, I'm thinking it's going to top out at 15 hours.
Yeah.
At that point, you're probably going to be able to do all the moves. You have played every course multiple times. You probably got golds on all of the medals and all of the different modes for each one of the levels. I think that's where it's going to be at.
I will say for people who are on the fence, they are going to be having a competition soon where they can like fly you out to actually like hang out with real pro skaters or something like that. That came in the PR list that we got, Adam. So pretty soon.
Were we allowed to say that?
Are we not?
I don't. Well, I don't know. I'm asking. I don't know.
I think we are. But we'll check out. If there's a hard cut in the podcast, it's because I said something I wasn't supposed to say, and that's why this was very hardly edited at this point. So moving on to the news, Adam.
They eat your bean. Stop.
I already ate it. It was a Tutti Frutti.
What? When did you eat it?
I ate it after I read Space Denizens' comment, and I even said Tutti Frutti while you were talking about cucks.
I don't listen. Oh, that had my mind was on cucks, not this. So Sony, you actually sent this to me, Alex. There's a video of Sony, the company, not PlayStation. Sony has a couple controllers that there's a way inside the controller. First, it's a weird looking controller. It's not made for the PSVR2. It's something
Yet.
Sony, the company's working on, right? And the weight can shift. And they were showing this individual using it to shoot guns, to throw axes, to do bows and arrows. I think it's interesting that the technological giant that is Sony is working on VR, but using it for things that look like games, but it's not associated with PlayStation, you know?
Yeah, so I found this article unrelated to Sony, right? It was just somebody talking about there's a conference going on right now about like VR, AR, mixed reality research. And just in the middle of the article, there was like, and then Sony had this new thing they were showing. And I thought that was pretty cool that here we have almost like an academic conference of research in the VR space. And then Sony is there presenting new technology that they will admit is not commercial technology. So this makes me feel happy in the fact that like I really love Sony's offering in VR. And I love that they are looking, 5 years into the future in terms of VR technology, meaning that, PSVR2 must be doing well enough for them to where they're not pulling the plug and they're thinking, okay, for our next VR system, what kind of stuff do we have to have in the controllers? That's what I'm assuming this is where this is going. And the fact is, here they have this prototype of a controller. And for those who don't know, you're holding a controller and it's almost like a mini lightsaber. And there's a weight that can be driven, from your hand and then higher up from your hand. And as that weight gets further away, then the object you're theoretically holding gets heavier. So if you imagine like you're holding like a katana, some really light sword, the weight would be close to your hand so you could swing it really freely. And then if you're holding like a sledgehammer, the weight would be far away from your hand, maximum length away. So it's harder for you to turn that around. I think that's a very ingenious approach to the tactile feedback that we sometimes lack in terms of things like VR melee combat. Like think about God of War. God of War in VR would never feel good because you don't feel the weight of the weapons. Now, if they added something like this, you would feel the weight of the weapons without having to have a very heavy controller. You'd feel the weight because that weight would be further away from your hand. So it's so cool, so novel, and they even, I think you watched, I haven't watched the video, Adam, I admit. You watched it. It sounds like they had two pieces you could attach together so that the guns feel different. That sounds incredible to me.
Yeah, I don't know. My issue is to serve the masses, they butcher the potential of these things, just like the headset rumble within the PSVR2. I think it can, Tentacular guys told us it can be stronger, but it's not because they're afraid people might get a little motion sick. Oh, guess what? You're going to crack your neck a little bit because it's rumbling while you're going just through a tunnel. I mean, I want something drastic, right? And I don't see them ever doing something to please me. I want pleasured, and I don't know if this is going to do it. Alex, Walkabout mini golf. Everyone loves it. Obviously, big time game. There's an actual putter now. I believe it's out for the Quest, and there's a putter. You put the attachment, just take the controller, attach it to the putter, and now that is how you can play Walkabout. I like golf. I golf. I mean, this is cool, but it goes under those things. Right now, it's not available for PSVR2, so it doesn't even matter. But is it worth it? That's like my thing. Like, would you really want to buy this for one game that you were really going to only use it for? Does it help that much? I don't know. It's cool. I'm glad someone's doing it, but it just seems like a waste of money a little bit, maybe.
Well, I think about it this way. Now, I'll be honest. What Walkabout Mini Golf offers is not the same thing that Gran Turismo 7 offers. But let's look at the price points here. I'm going to be a bit conservative and say that this putter on the PSVR2, which is not out for PSVR2, it's just for other headsets right now, but they are making a PSVR2 version of the putter. Let's say it comes out, it costs $50 to get this like golf stick simulation that you can hold on to for the putter. Compare that to the realistic driving setups that you see for GT7, where you're paying like $300 alone for a good steering wheel, and then another $300 for like a seat with pedals and stuff like that. So we're looking at something like $600 for a realistic GT7 only experience versus $50 for a Walkabout Mini Golf only experience. Do you think GT7 is 10 times more of a valuable VR game than Walkabout Mini Golf is?
First of all, it's $58.99
I was
again
close.
for
I had no idea. Yeah, I was
you
close.
did. Yep, for the others. I am gonna raise your bet and call you all at the same time. $58. Okay. Would you think it's worthy to buy this for, let's just say, $60? Or should I buy, I don't know, Synapse and Red Matter 2?
That's a really good question, Adam. The issue with these like specialty accessories is that this is not for somebody who's just like playing Walkabout every once in a while, like you and I are. Like we'll hop in every once in a while and play, hang out and stuff. This is probably for people who really enjoy playing putt-putt golf. They want to get the most out of their Walkabout mini golf experience. I'm talking you and me. Buy Synapse and Red Matter 2, right? Like I think Synapse is so good. Pocket $30 and then play Synapse.
That's my problem with suggesting buying it, right? And I think, maybe we'll get a chance to review it. Maybe one of us will buy it, but that is going to have to be the caveat. It's solely going to depend. I mean, how could it be bad, right? Like, as long as it fits onto the putter, what could they do to make that product bad? I don't think they're going to. It's going to be a good product. So is it going to be, do you play it enough? I would say if you don't play Walkabout weekly, probably not going to be worth your $60.
Or if you're not going to play a course more than once, right? Like I'm never going to play Walkabout mini golf on my own and finish a course and be like, let's do it again, But there are people out there who will do that. And then for those people, I think it's probably worth getting this kind of thing. Yeah, it's a tough call, but I think that price point of $60 makes a lot of sense. Where if you're a person who really likes it, they really like putt-putt golf, maybe it's not too bad. I was also thinking about the Vader stock that you have for like the first-person shooters.
Actually, I gave to you so you can try it. That you haven't played it,
that I haven't even touched. Yeah, the difference here, that thing's like $100, right? But the difference is it applies to Resident Evil, it applies to Pavlov. I'm sure it'll apply to Fallout or Firewall. It also applies to Light Brigade. So that's very multifunctional. Walkabout Mini Golf, this is the only golf game. I think Golf Plus is coming out soon. Who knows if this accessory will apply to that game, but it's a very limited use accessory.
The one thing I do wonder, now we're talking about it, will it actually make your golf game better? So you wouldn't have the feel of hitting a real golf ball, but when you swing that club, you'll be able to tell, am I swinging in a straight line? Whereas right now, you probably can't really do that with the controller. I don't know. We need to move on. We've talked plenty about the dang
the putter.
Yes.
All right, moving on. Release date announcement. So Tennis on Court, the tennis game coming out for PSVR2. They finally announced a release date, released a nice little trailer for us. It's coming out October 20th. Now, my question to you, Adam, about this game is, we have C Smash. Is that the only pickleball, ping pong type game? We know VR ping pong is coming out, or some version of ping pong is coming out for PSVR2. Is there a reason for tennis to exist on PSVR2? And can you see a reason why you might want to also get Tennis on Court when we know that C Smash is out there doing good work?
Different games. I think very much there's a room for a tennis. I'm excited for this. In fact, I'm more excited for this knowing that C Smash was so good, because now I know the potential and that it can be done and done exceedingly well. The room scale, game changing. That's the issue with PSVR. How are you going to play friggin' tennis? You can't really move, and the move controller sucked. Now that I can move in my room and swing, good. C Smash is great, but there's some things in tennis you don't have that wall. You don't know it's going to come back to you. So there's going to be more precision, more of the technique, golf, drop shotting. Yeah, I'm excited. This is a day one buy for me. I hope it's good. But with that room scale, I think it changes everything.
Have you played other tennis games, whether VR or not? Like, let's say just any other tennis games. Have you played other tennis video games? What games?
Mario Tennis, baby.
So that was my thought, was like, if this was more of a Mario Tennis type thing, where it's tennis with like power ups and fun arcadey type elements, I'd be day one on board with this as well. But this looks more like a tennis sim, which is not a bad thing. But I played a lot of. I really liked Virtua Tennis on the Dreamcast. That game is one of the best tennis games ever made, and there was like a pseudo sequel on Xbox that was, also quite amazing. So part of me thinks that there's a lot of really fun that could be had in Tennis on Court, but watching the trailer, I was a bit underwhelmed as a relatively unathletic person compared to you, that I wouldn't be able to have the most fun out of this. Also, the footage in the trailer looked a bit stationary. It looked like the ball is always going to be coming to you, and the hardest decision you have to make is whether you're going to like do a backhand or what is it, forehand, front hand, something, whatever it is. And so I'm hoping that there's room scale. I'm hoping that you can use analog sticks to move back and forth. Because if you're not moving towards the net to really take that combative approach in tennis, then what are you doing? You're just playing Pong,
Yeah. Those are, I think, very good complaints, and ones we don't know yet. I hope it's not the case, but it definitely could ruin the experience if you're correct.
Yeah. Moving on, we got our next bean bet here, Adam. This game is coming out in September. Crisis. Here's the bean bet. Is it Crisis Brigade or Crisis Brigade 2? This is coming out on the PSVR2 release date in September. I think they're going to be trying for a free upgrade, which I hope is true because I bought it on PSVR1 anticipating a free upgrade. I've been burned by that, I think 3 times now. So bad move on my part. It wasn't expensive. It was like $20. But
it's freaking Alex out here throwing $20 out. No big deal. It's $20. Dude, I feel bad because you've already eaten a bean because our testicles are too small. Now you're going to be eating a bean because I swear last week or maybe it's 2 weeks ago when I talked about this, it said Brigade. I thought it was wrong, but their Twitter said Brigade. So I went with it. Live on the podcast, you corrected me, and I was like, he's probably right. I don't think you're right.
You said Brigade. You're standing by Brigade. I say Brigade. I'm standing by Brigade. Adam, I've Googled it, but I haven't looked at the results here. I'm going to find the official game website because I think that Twitter was not the user. And I see there is a game called Crisis Brigade on Steam. There's also Crisis Brigade on the PlayStation Store. I just need to find the. Oh my God. They did that?
Yes, they changed the name, didn't they?
Is this serious?
Why would they do that? That's my first question.
So yeah, no, I'm eating a bean, but let's just elaborate on how ridiculous this is. The Wikipedia for this game says that it is developed by Suma Lab, who made Crisis Brigade on the PlayStation, and now the next game is Crisis Brigade with a capital B, Crisis Brigade 2. So they changed the name mid-sequence, and I'm eating a bean. You're right, Adam. It's Crisis Brigade.
But why would they do that?
I guess I get it. I'm so confused. But spin the wheel, man. I got to eat a bean for this. I will say, either way, I'm so happy this game's coming to PSVR 2. I wanted to play this so bad on PSVR 1, but I couldn't get myself to deal with the tracking issues of the PSVR 1. Don't tell me it's a barf.
No. Rotten egg or buttered popcorn?
Oh my God, I don't have any more drinks left. I'm out of drinks.
This one will ruin you too. I mean, it's only slightly worse than barf.
I hope it gets me angry for our upcoming.
The thing is, buttered popcorn isn't even good.
Buttered popcorn, baby.
What? You would have gotten wrecked if it were rotten egg. I'm almost happy for you because seriously, rotten egg is just disgusting. You have an airing a grievance, Alex.
Yeah, everybody knows what this is. Everybody knows what's going on here. I'm not going to name names, but a certain IGN Xbox editor had a tweet this week that kind of made some ripples in the gaming media space. He says, I massively regret the $597, including tax, that I spent on the PSVR 2. I love great VR game experiences, and I was so excited that Sony was doubling down with a truly powerful second-gen headset, but they burned me. There are no games. It already feels dead. Look at the layer of dust. And he included a picture of his headset with dust on it. This is my airing of grievance, damn it. This freaking idiot. First of all, This guy had a video when GT7 launched. I was sitting in a DeLorean and I turned around and it looked just like my DeLorean. You gotta get this. You gotta get this. From what I can gather, the only game he played was Gran Turismo 7, and the only thing he did in Gran Turismo 7 was sit down in a Tesla and sit down in a DeLorean and see if it looked like a Tesla and see if it looked like a DeLorean, and that's it. And he said you have to buy the headset just for that. Now, you and I, Adam, we're on board with the idea of maybe buying a VR headset just to play Resident Evil 8 and just to play Gran Turismo 7, and I think that's valid because it's, otherworldly gaming experiences. But then to turn around and say, as a person who has maybe an Xbox podcast, or maybe they write Xbox previews or editorials, I'm saying that the PSVR2 has no games. No, what you're saying is you're supposedly a professional video game journalist who doesn't have the time to explore games that aren't spoon-fed to him by the editor-in-chief. Now, if you don't know that Synapse came out and it's an amazing game, that's on you. If you don't know that Resident Evil 8 came out for the PSVR 2 and it is a game-changing experience of one of the best games that came out in 2020 or 2021, that is on you. If you don't know that Humanity will rock you to your core when you play it in VR and you have the music surrounding you, you have the visuals surrounding you, you have the experience affecting your body, that is on you. Look at it. Look at our testament. We have our PlayPSVR2 rankings of all time. Resident Evil 8, Gran Turismo 7, Song in the Smoke Rekindled, Pavlov, Synapse, VR Skater, C-Smash, Walkabout Mini Golf. Look at the variety of games we're talking about there. If there is something you like in a video game, there is an excellent VR component to that type of video game you like. And then moving forward, looking in like our lower half of our top 20, we're talking about games like Demio, an exceptional RPG experience if you love tabletop RPGs. Runner, a brilliant arcade shoot 'em up. I already said Demio. Garden of the Sea, if you like Animal Crossing, you can live in this Animal Crossing type experience. What blows my mind is that these guys get so hung up on the idea that a game has to be AAA. It has to have $60 million pumped into the production of a game to be considered a game that warrants the purchase of a system. Yes, we're not getting the budget of Last of Us Part 3. We're not getting the budget of God of War 2 in the games that are being made. But for the games that are being released, I'm looking at things like Light Brigade. I'm looking at things like Synapse. I'm looking at smaller tier games, AA experiences, maybe single A experiences. They're doing things in the VR space in terms of gameplay and the amount of enjoyment I have out of it that no flat game can possibly give me. I've played video games my entire life and I love video games. I love flat games. I love VR games. But the fun I have in playing an awesome round of Pavlov, or playing through an excellent run of Light Brigade, or playing through Resident Evil 8 in any capacity is better than anything I've had in any flat game I've played, barring maybe Near Automata, because that's like a world-shifting experience. I hate it. I hate the way these idiots can just go on Twitter and espouse this view of, oh, you know what, I don't like this, so everybody retweet this and tell me how much it's good that I don't like this. This guy exists in a world of negative engagement, and that's all he's doing. He's sitting around in his house by himself, maybe with his dog or something, and thinking, what's something mean I can say so that people will retweet this and people will start reading my articles more often? That's what he's doing here. That's what this is. I hate to feed into it. That's why I'm not going to say who it is, although you totally know who it is. I hate this. We've railed on IGN before. We're railing on IGN again. They are subpar journalists in the video game space. They are subpar video game resources. They want to be a crappy version of Wikipedia. They do nothing good for the gaming space beyond giving you a place where you know there's at least a screenshot of a game that I can look at, because that's all they do. They take PR emails that come in, they copy, they paste it. For all I know, they use ChatGPT to write an article about it, and that is their content. My God, their reviews suck, their previews suck, their videos suck. I tried to go to their website and find this guy's actual articles, and you freaking can't, because you're bombarded with 20, 30, 40 ads that are coming through. And also, let's also say that when you look at their website on your mobile device, they want to send you notifications for all the shit that they're dropping. Pardon my French. I freaking hate this website. I hate what they're doing to the video game space, and they're like the biggest website out there. It's terrible. I'm done. All right, Adam, any comment there?
I would say we could go cuck him, but he's probably not married either. Oh, boom, roasted. He's just sitting there with his dogs and maybe his cat. And he's on his couch watching New Girl, and that's it. That's it. writing articles, judging people for having a good time. Yeah, man. I feel you. It has blown my mind that like I've tried to play flat games, and there are like Final Fantasy 16, obviously like game of the year candidate. That was fun to play in flat. Every other game I've tried to play in flat though, it doesn't do it anymore, man.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like a drug. The more you do, when you try to go back to cocaine when you're on meth, it's like it doesn't hit the same.
Yeah, VR has ruined first person shooters for me, right? Every time I play a first person shooter, I'm like, I'm being held back, right? I'm not bad at it. I'm just being held back. This isn't as fun as it is when I'm playing a game like this in VR. Platformers too. After playing Astrobot, Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, Mario Odyssey, this stuff feels stilted and broken and limited in ways that it shouldn't be anymore because the technology exists there for it already. Adam, we're running low on time. Let's get through this real quick. Are you upset with the PSVR 6 months?
I'm saving it for next episode. We don't got time. I want to go into this. Instead, I think our time's better spent. We don't have much time to go into it. August, we've got Green Hell. We've on the 15th. We've got Firewall Ultra on the 24th. We've got Crossfire Sierra Squad the 29th. We don't know when Phasmophobia is coming out. Maybe in August, hopefully.
Tentatively 31st. Yeah, I reached out to them. They don't quite know, but they said August, so I'm going to assume 31st.
I mean, that's a lineup. That's a lineup.
Pick one of these games out of right. It's
Crossfire.
Any one of these. Crossfire. Okay, I was going to say Phasmophobia. It was torn between me, Crossfire, and Phasmophobia. I think Crossfire is a better single player experience. I think Phasmophobia is going to be a better game overall. But yeah, that's 4 potentially really good games. I'm putting a lot of hope in there on Firewall Ultra, but that's great. August, that looks awesome. And then September, we got Toss. Adam loves tossing off. Hell Super VR, Crisis Brigade, damn it, and Suicide Guy VR Deluxe. September's rolling out with some hitters. Here's the thing. This is just what we know of. We know we're going to get surprised with some random indie dude dropping a game on us too. And that's what I love about this space. You don't see that crap in the flat space. And then in October, we have Tennis Encore. They just announced it. Happy Funland, like a Five Nights at Freddy's thing. Maybe it's good. And Madison VR, the scientifically scariest game ever made. Man, things are looking good
just for Halloween. Perfect timing. Love
Perfect timing. Mwah.
Absolutely love it. That's a wrap for episode 130 of Play PSVR2 podcast. Thank you for looking in, listening to my bush. Please subscribe, like, and comment on the podcast, whether it may be on iTunes, Spotify, on YouTube. We are Gaming is in Session. Always feel free to shoot us an email at contact@playpsvr.com. Thank you again for listening to Play PSVR2, the podcast, where virtual reality is our reality.
What?